This is Ramalinga Prasad Kuppa. Welcome to my channel Pharma World. Today's topic is impurities in pharmaceutical products. In this short training video, we will try to understand the classification of impurities, its identification and characterization aspects. Other intricate points are also focused. Impurities in pharmaceutical products are classified as organic, inorganic, and residual solvents. Organic impurities are generated as process-related impurities or degraded impurities. Inorganic impurities are from reagents or catalysts used in the process. The inorganic impurities can be from inorganic salts or other processing aids like activated carbon or filter aid like high flow, etc. Residual solvents are the solvents that are used as vehicles for the process. The residual means remnants after complete recovery of the solvent and removed the traces by drying process. The impurities are unwanted guests in the pharmaceutical products. There is no therapeutic value for these impurities. These are like weeds in a good paddy crop, which are not required. Many impurities are toxic in nature, so many are toxic too. Impurities have to be identified, characterized, and certified. So it is important to identify such impurities and characterize to establish the adverse impact on the safety of the consumer. Impurities are the unwanted chemicals that coexist with the main molecule. Since these impurities are likely to be toxic, it is necessary to identify its structure to evaluate the adverse impact on the safety of the consumer. Related substances mean the impurities structurally closely related to the main product and may have a same response factor. Related substance means it is a relative to the main compound, mostly the API. What is a relative? A relative will have similar characteristics for each other. Each other's frequencies match. This is the simple way to understand the word related substances. Technically speaking, the response factors for both will be very close. It will be closer to 1. It is the ratio of the peak area of any impurity divided by the concentration in mg per ml. In some cases, the height of the peak is considered instead of area. The point here is that when the response factor is 1, the area of the impurity peaks will have same number of area counts. Further classification as genotoxic, teratogenic, carcinogenic, etc. Toxicity can be more serious, leading to genotoxicity, teratogenicity, or carcinogenicity. So the identification should focus for any structural alerts for these toxicities. There are specific guidelines for this. It is required to identify and characterize such impurities present in more than 0.1% level in the final API, the identification threshold. ICH Q3A prescribes to identify any impurity more than the identification threshold of 0.1%. If the maximum daily dosage exceeds 2 grams per day, the identification threshold is 0.05%. But if it is scientifically established that if any impurity which can have toxicity as described above, it should be evaluated separately. HPLC, LCMS, GCMS, NMR, FTIR, UV are the very common analytical techniques used to identify the impurities. Let us see how identification of impurities is done. HPLC provides information on the retention time of the impurity peak, which is specific to a certain impurity under certain conditions of the analytical method. HPLC coupled with MS will provide information on the total mass of the molecule. It is the same principle in GCMS also. When an impurity is placed in a magnetic field, the intramolecular magnetic field around the atom changes and provides detailed electronic structure of the molecule. Along with the structure, the dynamics, reaction state, chemical environment will be known in very much detail. FTIR is a very useful tool for establishing the functional groups. You have specific IR range absorbances at different wave numbers for each functional group. The ultraviolet scanning technique will provide a distinct spectrum which is used for identification of the compounds. XRD, ESR are another two important techniques to establish the electronic configuration of the impurity. XRD technique provides the information on the crystal structure of the compound. It also provides information on polymorphism. Electron spin resonance, the ESR, is another technique to establish the identification of the material. Inorganic materials can be identified by physical parameters like melting point, boiling point, etc. Inorganic materials have specific physical parameters like melting point, boiling point, freezing point, etc. Response to chemical tests like flame test or metal test are also done. Generally, the inorganic compounds do not have a carbon-hydrogen CH bonding. Since the inorganic materials do not have any carbon-hydrogen bonding in many compounds, the technique that works on the principle of presence of carbon-hydrogen bonding, the above techniques described are not suitable for identification. If the identification is firmly established with the retention time in HPLC or GC or TLC, it can be certified with the authentic reference standard. Retention time is specific to an impurity with a set of conditions and column in HPLC or GC. So, if the retention time of the compound matches with that of the known standard, it can be identified as such initially. When the identity is established by retention time, further confirmation of NMR and MS techniques should be used to establish the suggested structure. So, its structure is established further by NMR and mass techniques to confirm the structure of the compound. After firmly establishing it could be synthesized, the retention time is confirmed and certified fully. After firm establishment of the compound identity, it can be synthesized as an impurity standard and certified against the reference standard by checking the retention time. If the identity could not be established by the retention time in HPLC or GC or TLC, UV spectrum over the entire range or amperometric detection or capillary electrophoresis techniques may be used for identification. If the identification could not be established by HPLC, RGC or TLC, UV scan in 200 to 400 nanometer range will give good detail on the structure of the compound. In UV visible spectroscopy, the light passed through a sample and transmittance of light by sample is measured. From this transmittance, the absorbance is calculated. The formula for absorbance is minus log of transmittance. The absorbance spectrum obtained gives details of the absorbance of a compound at different wavelengths. With the intensities of the absorbance details at any wavelength can be used to establish the chemical structure of the molecule. Amperometric detection or capillary electrophoresis techniques are also used sometimes to establish the identity of the compound. Further, GCMS or HPLCMS NMR may have to be used for establishing the chemical structure. So, the further support of GCMS, HPLCMS and NMR techniques may be used to confirm the identity of the compound. When once the structure is established, synthesis and quantification may be done as explained in the previous slide. So finally, as described above, it should be certified. Let us see some important definitions. Known impurity or identified impurity is the terminology used for structurally identified impurities. This is important to know. Any impurity for which the structure is established, it is called as known impurity or identified impurity. Both means the same. Unknown impurity or unidentified impurity is the terminology used for impurities for which the chemical structure is not established. All unidentified impurities are called as unknown impurities or unidentified impurities. Specified impurity is an impurity that is individually listed and limited with a specific acceptance criteria. Specific impurity is the one which is listed in the impurity profile with a specific acceptance criteria or limit. Specified impurity category should meet the criteria always. Unspecified impurity is an impurity that is not specified individually and controlled by a general acceptance criteria. Unspecified impurities are controlled by a generic limit. You may go through section 5.10 or chapter 2034 in European Pharmacopoeia. Other detectable impurity is a potential impurity with a defined structure but not known to be present above the identification threshold. This is another important aspect to know about the impurities. Very elaborate text is provided in section 5.10 of European Pharmacopoeia. Even though the other detectable impurity is a known impurity, it is not specified to be within the acceptance criteria. It is expected to be within identification threshold. The identification threshold is 0.1% for maximum daily dosage of less than or equal to 2 grams per day and 0.05% if it is more than 2 grams per day. Any other impurity, any impurity is valid for specified impurities only. In this, the test complies only when this category of impurity is within the limit prescribed. The limit will be nominal content greater than the identification threshold. This category is also applicable for specified impurities only. When a diluted solution of the API is considered, generally 0.1% concentration for calculation of unknown impurities, it is assumed that the response factor for each impurity is 1. As described under slide 5, when the response factor is 1 as against the main API peak, the diluted solution of API, generally 0.1%, is used as a standard. The area counts of individual peak is compared with the peak area of the diluted standard of API. I hope you had a detailed insight into the understanding of impurities in pharmaceutical products. Read carefully the sections 5.10 and 2034 of European Pharmacopoeia for more details. There are a couple of examples provided to understand and reporting of impurities in the drug substances. Thanks for watching. For more videos, please do subscribe, like and share. Thank you.